You know, your head coach, Matt LaFleur, I thought said something very interesting about you. He said, quote, there is an expectation for him. He set the standard for himself, which is pretty high, end quote. So how would you describe the expectations you have for yourself, and what is that standard that you've set for you?
I mean, you know, it's something that kind of what our entire team is about. You know, with the Green Bay Packers, there's always been a standard that's always been set of just excellence. And, you know, for me individually, you know, I always want to go out and be the best in the league. I want to be the best version of myself. And, you know, that's like I'm the hardest on myself. You know, no critic, no coach, no person, no teammate can be hard on me than I can be on myself. So when I don't make a play or when I, you know, leave something out there or whatever the case is, you know, it's, like I said, it's the standard that I set for myself. So no one's going to be more competitive or more hard on myself than I will be.
Marquez Valdes-Scantling joining us once again. You know, in terms of your game, I mentioned also at the top some of the stats, especially as it relates to a deep ball. It's the second straight season that the team went to the NFC Championship game. However, when you have the kind of speed that you have, I think that people will make the mistake of thinking it's just a matter of running right by DBs. But there's so much more to it than having success like that downfield. In your opinion, what does it take to be a deep threat in the NFL?
I think it's a lot of things that go into it. A lot of guys can run fast, and obviously having a MVP quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback, throwing you the ball makes it a little bit easier. But there's a lot of things that go into it. Just having, you know, a guy like Devontae Adams on the other side that is going to attract attention, and having a great running game and just great concepts to be able to get different guys in position to be successful. And I think that's the biggest thing about, you know, just having success in the NFL because everybody's talented and everybody can do pretty much everything. Obviously, some guys do it better than others. But just having all those things going to, you know, taken into account kind of create your success.
You know, you mentioned a couple of your teammates, so I want to ask you something. After that NFC Championship game, you tweeted, quote, not one bit of Aaron Jones slander will be tolerated. I've watched him give his heart and soul to this team every single second. Best teammate I've ever been around. I'd go to war with him every time, no questions asked. End of quote. I bring this up because this is also a big Aaron Jones house. I've got great respect for this guy. What is he like as a teammate? And then how much does it bother you when you see people criticizing him for making a mistake?
It's terrible because, like I said, Aaron Jones is literally one of the best human beings I've ever been around. And you can ask anybody on that team, and they'll say the exact same thing. You know, it's not just, because he's a great, you know, player. He's so much more than just a great player. Obviously, he's one of the best running backs in the league, if not the best. And he deserves every, you know, thing that ever comes his way. But he's a great human being, a great teammate. He's the unsung hero on a lot of those plays down the field. If he's, you know, stepping in the A-gap, taking on a blitzing linebacker, or, you know, lead blocking down the field, helping his teammates up after they get tackled or whatever. It's just things that people don't even realize or recognize on a day-to-day basis. He does it. You know, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, to every single person in the building, no matter who it is. He's just very respectful, and he just does everything right. And obviously, you know, you're going to make a mistake. We're human. And no person should be, you know, criticized and bashed for a mistake that they make, especially a guy like Aaron who does everything right. And he's, like I said, he's given his heart and soul to this team and has never complained about anything. I think he's just, like I said, one of the best teammates I've ever been around. I don't think that anyone can top that. I think anyone who's down that organization will say the exact same thing about him.
See, it's the thing. This is why I like having these conversations with you, because you always show up like this, and you're real and you're honest. And then even on social media, on Twitter, you'll show up the same way. As an example, you recently said that you received death threats on Twitter after the Colts game. Somebody recently tweeted, quote, why do grown-ass men cry about a couple of death threats when they're making millions every year? End of quote. I'm really curious. What was your reaction when you saw that particular tweet?
Honestly, I was taken back by it just because of the person who said it. For him to also be an athlete, you know, it was just mind-blowing to me that they still look at us as we're not humans just because we make a good amount of money, you know, playing a sport. You know, we're still people. You know, we don't deserve to be threatened over a game of entertainment for other people. You know, obviously this is a game that we love, that we put our hearts and souls into. But at the end of the day, it's a game, and it's for entertainment for other people. And for anyone to receive a death threat over work is not okay. And I think people need to realize that, you know, we're still humans. We still have emotions. We still, you know, have issues that we deal with on an everyday basis. No matter how much money you make in this game, it doesn't change that the fact that we're still humans. And, you know, that's the issue that a lot of fans don't realize, that they get on, you know, these free apps and say whatever they want to say with no consequences and, you know, no repercussions of it. And I think that people need to, you know, be able to understand that you can't just say whatever you want to say, because you can say it behind your phone without, you know, any consequences happening. And obviously it's unfortunate because Twitter is free. You know, if Twitter costs money or costs to tweet, people wouldn't tweet crazy things like they do. But, you know, at the end of the day, that's just what it boils down to, is that people should treat people how, you know, they would want to be treated. That's something we learned when we were in kindergarten, you know, the golden rule. And, you know, it still holds true to this day.
I agree with you. Really quickly, you also recently reposted that video of that camper trying to go in on Cam Newton, and you had a message as well there. What did you make of that? What did you think when you saw that, and what was the message you wanted to share?
You know, like I said, when I was, you know, in high school or in, you know, just growing up, I would have loved to have Cam Newton come, you know, or a player like Cam Newton come to my 7-on-7s or my practices or whatever. You know, for him to be, you know, in the position that he's in, and everything that he's accomplished, and still being able to go out and give back to, you know, these camps. He's been doing it for years. And I would have been a sponge, you know, asking him whatever questions I could ask him, even if it's, you know, simple questions, or, hey, Cam, can you just sit and talk to me real quick, or just give me a minute of your time, or, you know, just tell me whatever things you did. I couldn't be that guy to, you know, chastise, you know, a guy who's done everything that I want to do, you know, won an MVP, you know, won a Heisman, you know, just broke all these records and did everything, been to a Super Bowl. Like, I don't know. I couldn't be that guy. And I think it's kind of what our society has gone to, is, you know, being these trolls. And, you know, that's what the internet has created. And they don't even realize the damages that they're creating or the opportunities that they're missing out on.